Hey, hello once again, YouTube. This is Mike Roadway. On today's episode, we are throwing up balls of confetti and celebrating 1,000 subscribers. So we'll talk about a big thank you to all the subscribers that have taken the time to click the button and continue to support my channel. I'm also going to go briefly over what got me into cars and why I drive this BRZ today. And then lastly, I'm going to open up the floor for the comments and see what got you all into cars, and also what do you drive now and why. Let's get to it. All right, so let's talk about what got me into cars. So I am a 1980s baby, just barely in the last Gen X little time frame. And I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, cars were very much the center of things. Not so much like the video games of today and so forth and so on. And what really caught my eye when I was young was the cartoon Transformers. So Transformers came out in 1984. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Optimus Prime and his Autobots, and then the Decepticons, but in particular the Autobots really caught my eye. And boy, I had those toys, and I spent my childhood going back and forth and blowing up the Decepticons with my really cool robots that turned into cars. So that really caught my eye. Shortly thereafter, in the late 80s, we had a couple things happen also. One was Ghostbusters came out and took over the world. Cartoon came out, I think, like 1988, something like that. But while everybody else was pretending to shoot their plasma beams and catching little Slimer and ghosts, I was infatuated with Ecto-1, which was that huge old school Hertz car, and I would just drive that around with my Transformers and have just like a blast as a little kid. Same time period. David Hasselhoff. The Germans love David Hasselhoff, right? Anyway, fantastic show, and on this show they featured KITT, and it was an old Trans Am, and you know, just a blast to watch that thing. You know, they did the little turbo boost, and that thing could jump over like 50 semi trucks. It was pretty wild, but that really got me into just kept it cars. And then the last piece of pop culture were the James Bond movies. So I'll never forget seeing the Lotus Esprit transforming itself into a submarine and then going underwater. It was wild. And then obviously the old DBs, the Aston Martin DB5 and Goldfinger. I mean, I've been in love with that car as long as I can remember, and such a beautiful car, and it kept that energy up, and why I like cars. So in the real world, my mom actually she was into cars. She even worked at a drag strip when she was a teenager in upstate New York. She bought a 1984 300CX with the manual transmission. It was non-turbo, but still super cool. And you know, just seeing my mom, I like squishing that 2+2 backseat, and just seeing my mom shift through the gears caught my attention. Like, hey, that's kind of cool. Maybe I should do that. And then on top of it, my dad got in some weird business trait of his. He had like some 1940s Plymouth. It was a sedan, you know, it wasn't like a hot roddable kind of car, but it was cool, especially, you know, back in those days. That car didn't even have seat belts, so I'm jealous of my parents. They didn't have to worry about child seats like with me and my two girls, but I'm glad that era's over. So that's what really got me into cars. A lot of pop culture and a little bit of personal experience from 0 to 10 years old, like really locked and solid. So get into why I'm into cars today and why I drive what I drive. So I spent a lot of time when I was younger, in my late teens and a lot of my early 20s and even part of my 30s, driving Mustangs. So the Mustang was the very first car that I saw in person that I was like, hey, that's obtainable for me and I want it. And I think I was like 14 years old. I was riding my bike back from watching Jurassic Park. I guess I was 13. And there was a 1969 Mustang Mach 1 red with black stripes. 4-speed, I believe, 4-speed on the floor. And that locked in kind of a Mustang obsession with me pretty early on. So I had a few Mustangs, and I had like an old pickup truck with no air conditioning for a while, whatever I could find. But fast forward to right before I joined the service, and Fast and Furious was really big, and I never really paid too much attention to the imports, but because my mom had the 300ZX, I was like, hey, how about I try these out? It'd be kind of cool, little heritage to my mom. So I got a 1989 that got totaled. I got hit by a pickup truck, or a dump truck, if you can believe that. I survived, obviously. Then with that, I had a parts car in 1986, and then I bought a 1988 Shiro Sport, which is a pretty limited run. It was 1,000 cars. Shiro's white for Japanese. So I scooped up that car real cheap, collector out of Tennessee, drove the wheels off that thing, and modified the heck out of it. GT35RR dual ball bearing turbo. Thing sounded like a fighter jet. I had about 450 horsepower to the wheels. But yep, that time period, then I decided, hey, I joined the service, so I sold off the Z. I sold off, I had a motorcycle there briefly, 600RR Honda CBR. And when I got into the military, I really wanted to focus on the work. So I kind of put my obsession with cars down for a long period of time. I'd say, gosh, that was 2008. Yeah, 2008, I put it down, and I did a few tours overseas in Afghanistan, and it was on the last one in 2014. I kind of had this awakening moment that I should have really put the loves of my life on the side as far as hobbies. So when I came back from that tour, I'd always had a thing for BMWs also, and I just found the gem of a E92 335i, and that had the N54 twin turbo in it. It was black sapphire metallic. It had, as we call, peanut butter seats. It was the saddle leather seats. It had no frills. It didn't have the big screen, and it had, most importantly, a 6-speed manual transmission. So I picked that up in Austin, Texas, and just had a love affair with it. Got me back into cars, super happy. Of course, with BMWs of that range, especially the N54, I started cooking about a quart of oil a week. Probably in hindsight, it was probably a PCV issue, but I was getting ready to get transferred over to Europe, and I didn't want to mess with the older car. Bought a 2016 Mustang GT. I figured, what better car to have in Europe than a Mustang? They had just gotten released the year earlier in the European market, and I thought it'd be pretty fun. So I picked up the Mustang. You can see a lot of those driving videos through Switzerland and all about Austria and Italy on my YouTube channel. But I drove that, and the whole long-winded story about why I'm telling you this is because I drove that Mustang through Europe, and Europe, very small roads and narrow, and these, the Mustang was a big car, and I was like, man, I really wish I had something smaller, more nimble. The power, the Mustang's power was awesome on the Autobahns in Germany, but that's about the only time I really used it. So when it came time to trade the Mustang in and get something different, this BRZ was just hitting the showroom floors, and I was like, man, this, if I ever got to go back to Europe again, this is the car I would want to have on those Swiss passes and everything else. So obviously that's the direction I went in. And now I have zero regrets about the car. I absolutely love it. The way it handles is exactly what I'm looking for. And as serendipitous as things can get in this world, I just got my orders recently, and I will be revisiting Europe this summer, and the BRZ is going. And pretty much right off the bat, second I get it delivered there, I'll be headed to Switzerland and some other places and taking it on some passes and having some fun. All right, ladies and gents, so that's my story. I'd love to hear yours and share it with everybody else that's up on the channel. So in the comments, go ahead and post up your story, share what you guys are driving now, and let's hear a little bit of background. What got you guys into cars? So thank you all once again for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and helping me get over to the 1,000 mark. I give you guys my word that so long as I can keep doing these videos, I will continue to make content. And if you guys have any ideas or videos that you would like to see, go ahead, post it up in the comments, and if I can get to it, I certainly will give it a go. Thanks again, guys. Take care, and as always, drive on.